conference league matches be bay and to me and the bet and teams are more disturbing and yasam ketwa omo nyina so nya penalty a nanka omo shanka ye be debate pa but omo your margin say omo di abro ti ye be ransom ni mu na ya review aye games no na hu de ekone de ba na fim ya ba be wramu ewo aye de European games no channel say this round of games no aye the last one for the year I feel so and also the last one for the World Cup qualifies. Channel say I draw on the 5th of December. So after this window no I was saying who teams are on my qualify, especially all the teams except Omomukwakobo playoffs but the majority of the teams no I was say then you teams in it. But any say Ghana be join Tunisia, Morocco. But any say either Nigeria, South Africa, Rwanda, Benin, Bakobe Room. Either Senegal, DR Congo, either Ivory Coast, Cameroon, and so I bet or any say I just say miracle see and sana aye bobo kwa ye frɛ no Cape Verde betina fie se or chance will be lose one son or no be winning matches difficult mountain. So we will see teams are and the Africa had no more yet the 9 teams are ever qualify aqua represented the African country a year the 3 nations for the first time a 48 team World Cup no ebe ba so nti hye so say weekend we win the better I just say we train 2 weeks time and sana teams na return anya sam keto akra nti no oni entra ye make sure say ye be yi us na de amount na yetumi aden a debate and sana ma international break no na bibia so na tumi aden atumi ade akoye enei ubowura mu ewo eye YouTuber eye MYBET.AFRICA TV ye twagu de ya anya asem keto akra e wo honom saso na uko eye Facebook so no ye twa egu de e wo eye MYBET na Africa MYBET.AFRICA MYBET ni bom na watentamu na de Africa na eden atoa so e wo honom na bibia so no etumi ayeden akoye sanso and I'll copy more Facebook wa bima a street is watching and I say ABN Radio 1 nina a Facebook pages are ube to me so I join the show no el honum. Your Telegram account on a honey day or also near day egu el honuma. Meno say dear, uko honuma. Also hodolo. You the big go. Nina I am my bet us near the day. You did go on me. But money and join a sports arena or Telegram sports arena. And na okupiemu ewo TikTok so sports.arena.news sports.arena.news na abomodiana also wetumi ayeden a join show na bibia tumi akoye online radio near MYBET online radio na afi ukoye retail shops ni nyina channel so ye pa se ya tete atoma ya da so pa ye cheche manfo hwe sana omode den edibe omode twa bet na bibia so na atumi ayeden akoye join the show na no send o message na fi wa share yen come MYBET education ka kra bi na fi yemira eye enra what went wrong for certain teams Stuttgart so to me call away my Basel show Panathinaikos oko eye young boys home e ko share no 4 otina fi ema eye go ahead Eagles eba be share ewu ankasa wo fie otwire ho awonte ase AS Roma penalties poly miensa ni nyina omo bo ni nyina tuguhi se yendi e bet nti yemrem ewo honom.
Yeah, listo you say come MYBET education one sem there ne yenim say na Friday be weekend ni mo anu no inti opposite of face card ya MYBET.AFRICA and na obetimi face card weekend di MYBET my office bebre na me no so no kwan bia so no nso obetimi face card MYBET.AFRICA ndo ehu matches bebre course so ba na edin so obetimi face card enu nti na MYBET so the bet builder option aba small games bi no ubetimi enya odds mu edu na nso etimi dia face kanti sisi akọ browser na kọ www.mybet.africa top right corner obehu icon bi a circle ni green mi aso obehu login ni register obo register ni so a 3 simple steps nso betimi awe ka MyBet ebusuan. The first one your phone number, the audio mobile money transactions any ene udi a obetimi eyi sika no nso ababeto phone ni so. The next one your username edin bi a pesa odi share hobia obetimi abo ahyem na afi the password ni confirm password wa boni ni na ahyem na bibia nso etimi ayeden akoye mo sisi yenwura MyBet ni mu ene with bet builder options weekend for 5 games per nenya 50 selections free because with just 5 games per game unya 10 different options. Say any obetimi akọ team need to win, team ni be she goal, both team to score, first half win, multi goals, bibia opebia obetimi select on MyBet.AFRICA platform and ameno so no usika no betimi aba be yedu usika no munzu yedu dia na ndia okika come MyBet for 1500% aka bonus omode mine the highest aka bonus in the country inti ene wo shebet na usika no mu yedu potential winning no betimi aba be yedu dudu se na udi a wedi na kese mu ti weekend register na be ka MyBet ebusua no se na kwan bia so no onzu betimi afiska
kwan bia so se na onzu betimi afiska ndra conference league ni Europa league na yasem keto akra na games ni doso papa e ho nti amemo boso AS Roma Trefima Lille Metropole first half goal a omo share editor omo no 6 minutes na mentia say football na aba no from first minute to 6 minutes a goal bar the possibility go maybe no e high. I don't know why. Lille Metropole goal or share on the 6 minutes and at the Mukrokro ma El Honoma and a 1-0 Bologna and a Freiburg 1-1 Bram and so Eche a Utrecht Eshen Kabako Braga Equity Celtic Bonacamunu Ama Celtic and to me auntie so I give no controversy say come Tima your friend young boys Equity Stuart Bucharest Bonacamunu went to me auntie Fenerbahce share OJC Nice Camunu Amomutimu bako Robertis kochi Lodugores Eshene Kamienu Omontumi anti go ahead girls ekochi Panathinaikos Boneka mienu Emotimu bako Victoria President Chimamo FF Eboneka miensa Amontumi anti bi Basel Eshe Stuttgart Kamienu Wentumi anti Celta Vigo she Park Thessalonica Kamiensa Momutimu bako Porto she mienu Ema Grevena Zevda sono etimu bako Aston Villa kochi Feyenoord Eshene Kamienu Emma went to me until Genk at Tenafima Ferenvaros, Equachene Boneka back went to me until Lyon Shemiano, Emma Salzburg and to me until Dynamo Zagreb, Equache, Maccabi Tel Aviv Bonecami and Sam, Emma Otimubaco Sasso, and a Michelin Shemi and Sam, Emma Nottingham Forest Sono, Etimu Mianos, Stormgrass, Eshemianu, Emma Rangers, and so Etimu Bako El Honum. We any a year to say Europa League games are a year their course. Conference League ni say net here. Dynamo Kiev Tenafima Crystal Palace question come in went to me ante. Jagiellonian Shebakum ama aye Hamuran Spartan enso went to me ante Coops enso no director no 1-1 na director hono honum na aye Ghana ni this year aye frenu Salifu Ibrahim Di Maria usina kan usina kadema House of Folk no one Radio Voca omo team no any director endo munya 1-1 but Radio Voca bobi but mobi Salifu mobi Alasan Eshemiensa Emma Brian Deblick and so into me antia Legend portion action 9 Emma SK Rapid etimu bako Noah Eshebakoma Regika and to me anti or menzo 5 Ekoche aye ammonia sheneka bako went to me anti Rayo Vallecano eche ayesken Dija Esheneka mienu went to me anti aye Zerinski and so share 9 Emma Lincoln Red Absuno and to me antia Shakhtar Donetsk Koche Aberdeen ebone kamiensa ema otimu mienu AEK Lanaka she 9 ema AZ Akama ntumi antia Selji enso she miensa no me catch us Selji for no mu she go pa kire us home go e ho no AEK Aten she ba akom Florentina she mienu ema Sigma Olumo enso ntumi antia Samsung Sport ekoche Elijah was so she ne kaba akwa ntumi antia Rako enso she mienu ema Crowell and so entumi antibi wonoma Shelbourne and so an shebi ma Hacken so an shebi Strasbourg koche Slovan Bratislava ebone kaminu ama Slovan timu ba kwa Spartak Prague so ehye 9 ama aye Shamrock Rovers so etimu ba ko ɛwɔ hɔ nom. These are games a ɛto dwa mo yɛn bɔ games we so na afei yɛn mu nre mu ɛwɔ ɛyɛ the weekend games.
Okay, until least to starting free, that is the Conference League games, of course. And I think say we Strasbourg and they oma boy Europe no we last season performance or more than idea. Kiti be ngomu qualify even for the Champions League or for the Europa competition and na no Conference League no makobo. But we Indra game on boy it shows the quality and warm side. Indra Chelsea, Looney, our core friend Amugu, and I started from the right back. Name 1 year because in himself signing for Chelsea. Now also bought as the center mid or Saturday as a right back. But they had a very good game. Who share the lineup on parody with some of the Chelsea loanees. It's me, Bomo, and I think so with the Conference League, we teams are this season. Ebiom beat me a co minima abo Momodia. Strasbourg one team and meet me at performance wise. Bibia a side or most beat me abo Momodin. Yeah, Florentina. Last season, no more Momodin saying commit me the Conference League final. But in Yaman Koye, or me pick a 2-0 win. I think so. Another team, I'm tipping them to get either the final or the semi-final air Florentina based on performance on Madanedi, especially in the European competition. Indra, the highlight for the Conference League, Ebe Crystal Palace. And I think now, Ome BT club record of 18 unbeaten runs. And they, Ometimi they acquired the 19th game. Weekend way, Omutimi to us, meaning from April. Crystal Palace lusu game ba ebepim and drag game on boy and I think say Oliver Glasner baso ye pa they are the youngest team to qualify for an European competition. Oshe we teams or ma bomu ewo Europe or mo first appearance or mutimi we mo Europa. Crystal Palace the youngest team to get into the European competition. And Man United in the European scene move first in 1956 and in 1957 season and Oborim Chelsea in second team in 1958 and in 1959 and they Oshe Brighton area move to 2023-2024 and they Crystal Palace in Swako count at 2025-2026 season. And I think Zendra, even with a red card, Oliver Glasner and Brian Tierney or Madrid say Quine Biasuno, their first Conference League game on beat me. And I'm tipping them say with them that is Crystal Palace, Florentina, and Strasbourg or Mubako a bet me aje this Conference League at Biabekoyi. You read the Europa games of course Sundra, and I think say some of the teams are disappointed. Oshe Celtic. Mebeka has said the Scottish teams now they are failing to perform at the European stages. These two teams, Rangers and Celtic, they had a chance to qualify for the Champions League. Omomuna failure and they omitimi aborim in the Europa League. And still, performance no of them. Indra, Celtic losing at home to Braga was one of the upset results happening on the day. Because in himself investors, better Celtic for Mama Danedi in the Scottish Premier League and also in this game, Obien himself at least at home there in a point on Betimianya. But Celtic ekolusu by 2-0 Entimi similar to Rangers. Ononso Modern Bono Enso Ankoye. This is their second game in European competition on Makakolusu. Now, coach friend Rossi Martin as why she because fans need to say he's not the right man for the job. Even though say you name him the exciting football ball Southampton. And I'm so no be him so with a quality team with players no nyama betimi akoye. But then they say performance wise nyama nkoye. So the position in the Scottish Premier League or at the bottom half of the table. And the European competition is so timi born home or Enyama enso entimi enkoye oho performance 2-1 loss against Stormgrass was something and it wasn't encouraging for the Scottish team and also the Scottish fans almost supporting team of friend Rangers. Aston Villa, I think the Aston Villa nyanka nkomo boy Europa because their performance in the Europa has been top notch. And no chair say if you have a good coach in hand our handle team waji European competition 4 times it say onimbo ye pa. And in their two games on my bond they've been able to keep clean sheet and also score goals they are winning comfortably on the day. And I think say Mebo Unai Emery Abaso they started the Europa competition well and they brought it into the league. Obe need 3-1 against Fulham and now they are taking it against Feyenoord at Biakoye. Obi Oshe Aston Villa last season in the Champions League. Anytime you are any European competition performance in Bekoye Oba league no aba be lusu and no aba be pick a draw. Into no be him say coming into the game against Fulham a bit me affect him, especially with a lot of travels but it's your mother need to say Oma picking momentum from that first game and they are trying to take it on. The likes of we McGinn being the captain of the side scoring again for Aston Villa. I think say and he's taking the mantle and making sure say team ni performance a bit me do the level omope. Indra me kan ha say Midland. The last time about England, everybody against an English side was Man United. Obeshe Man United were England by 2-1. So Indra na minim say kwan bia so Midland getting a goal against Nottingham Forest will be possible because Nottingham Forest in keep a clean sheet. Won the last 12 games. And free time Anch ebefa team ya no. Almost 6 games on my board. No ntimi piki win here. Na Indra o share time at the third goal eko muma Midland. Anch na ninse guniti. Be almost 5 minutes no yin ninse infinity because ultimus a performance na enko ye. And he wasn't expecting to play a game against Arsenal, Swansea, Burnley, Brighton, Sunderland, and Midland. Now still, Ontimi Mpeki even 3 points from these 6 games. They've been just 2 draws against, that is, Real Betis and Burnley. And the rest has been defeat. Now, in draw, Muona, I friend Maranakis, not in Otistans, Usha, Enyama Nkoye Mano. And they say, a case, obi de nensa asay on one team yebebo ni din because performance at Nottingham Forest done di last season they were on the verge of even qualifying for the Champions League and na meno so no with some few results ankoye no they dropped out and omunya chance etimi we mu in this competition. And I think say with the Crystal Palace issue no and a boy menya no dey anka they were going to play the Conference League with Crystal Palace issue na bebo mo mutimi dey run more the Europa na so the last season form. Not this season, yeah, Europa draw. No, up team and Kabeka so. Met me the say Simibu say they can get into a good position in the Europa competition and maybe the semis, the quarterfinals or the finals are Ubebo Nottingham Forest. But with a change in management, affected team no. Now performance wise, the Nyama Jiegu. Now, I can't call baby and then I'm quantity. I think say baby I do know. It's either Maranakis Beja to Muse and Memphis say as we coach na me pamu ni Nuno Espirito Santo no manye ni ye e na coach amakofa na ba so mba me handle team ni so enko ye intini either so beja anch kwan ana so beja tum say enyama ekọ no ebe ye nti enjai na ndo fans omo ba park no omo nyuma na omo to after the third goal ni na say you are being sacked in the morning omo hwe say if their team is to perform similar to senior na omo done it last season then say anch team free team. Their next game is against Newcastle. It was St. James Park, which will be a very difficult game for them. So, Anchi Wejumaye, and I think say in this European competition, say Midland about home, ever pick 3 points. Then there is a lot of question marks about your team. Indra Lyon, Missy team obey to make it clean sheet continuously in this competition, Lyon, because of their goalkeeper or that pony mom, and they've shown say now. Performance wise, the Lyon ababe team bia odi kan shewa or confidence on the back line or confidence with goalkeeper no that po no intino or shewo first they can take the game to the end of the 90 minutes and also keep a clean sheet. And Omar Danidi in recent games on my ball, they've made sure say in their last 5 games, last time Okoncidi goal was against Stade Rennais. Apart from that, the last 4 games were Bonina and we keep it clean sheet. And those Emutre were winning by 1-0. So after getting the goal, they are keeping a clean sheet. In Dram, because it's quite a risky better. But for them to win and also to keep a clean sheet in Dra. Omutimi ball Salzburg by 2-0. A goal in the first half, a goal in the second half for them. It was a convincing result for them. And I think say if last season Inyama na tutu and they getting their team back, knowing said they wouldn't be playing in the League 2, and they are playing in Europe, they are still in the French League competition, and with this performance, they can give the likes of Marseille, the likes of Paris Saint-Germain, and Monaco a run for their money in this season's Ligue 1. Porto, one of the teams at least they are on top red form, and Porto. Indra, you're discussing on the last time on Picky defeat, actually, and it dates back into February assembly. That was the last time Omutimi Picky defeat against AS Roma in the Europa competition on mobile. Apart from that, they've been dominant in every competition on mobile. And in their last 10 games, Oshe teams now, it has all been wins. In Tindra going a game against team, we friend Red Star. I wasn't surprised Porto would win. And they've been one team, they are not just winning, They are grinding the results at any moment. Intino, so when Timmy and Share go in the first half, in the first 20-30 minutes of the second half, last minute Kwame Bias Wabeshel. That is what happened last week in the Europa League. Obeshel last crucial goal, Eddie Winnie. In draw, and so that last minute goal, Omutimi Share, and I'm also Timmy Jampeke, another winner. And I think say the European competition, Europa League, say upe team bet me and they met me at so bet me winner. With the form they are having,
can they maintain because the coach now remember what he did with Ayas.
Yes.
Ayas team
yeah.
Or building, I feel they were winning. Ayas winning. Final PSV, but you 10 points.
Yeah.
With about 6 matches to go.
And that's on fanboy.
Or fanboy. So he's known for such form.
But the ending,
no.
Yes, but I think say being a coach, one thing I say to me when they say if in your man you find a way and solve it. Who coaches baby they were complaining, oh coach, we your best start here, but the ending in here. But the moment you start learning, it improves your team. A big example be Enzo Maresca. Time or Leicester or Chin League in the ending closer to the end, in your man so a lot of Leicester fans don't more complaining to we about Chelsea. Best start here, but ending in Koye, and we saw some bad patches. Bedu baby, he corrected them. Na nyama Koye. So I think say with the squad the Kutano, and also the players Okuta, and now the league Obono, it gives him the exposure to now beat some of the big teams, and also the Europa competition, one of the most exciting competition at the level no opiki form the bit me Koye, and the Champions League. You meet tougher opponents for them to grind you, but and then you are meeting opponents that you can get good results from them. And in Drausha, it was a good game for them. But one thing Ameniji or Red Star Belgrade for say they came into the game to make sure say if they are to win, they want to win comfortably with chances of creating with chances of munya, and they would have converted them into goals. So main team and Amenosono and a Porto team Benya that last minute winner. Omutimi their second win also in that game. And I think say another upset was Stuttgart game, and against Basel, some way somehow I wasn't surprised with the result. I didn't make us and say, "Osha Basel team player near friend Shaqiri, now no Liverpool and Obo Stoke or Liverpool." I think we're reviving a career at Basel and Uko Basel says he's one of the key men in their setup. He's their captain, he's their leader, he's scoring goals in draw. Osha goal or share. This too, I think, say Europa season we are picking the best goals. It will be one of them. Or Chippy goalkeeper from near to the corner line, and they share that crucial goal to make sure say they get that comfortable win after getting that early goal. And I think say performance wise, Obetime leaded this Basel team into something great. Some of the results say Roma disappointing, very very disappointing. In investors are cold and two Roma in a dia bro. Getting a Roma win or draw, and now all team on my bet 1.19 IFI, and going into a game of being Roma home form Okuta, and they've been one of the best teams playing at home. But in draw, and I think that there were signs in the game because Mbeka said Roma in their last 5 to 6 games, Roma and lose by 2-goal margin, or Nunsu are winning by 2-goal margin. Every time there is either a goal margin in decided game, and they've not had draw in any of their last 6 games. So the best option and case be a call for was a win-win. Because a Roma ain't lose by 1-goal margin. They are winning by a goal margin. And the last time who against Lecce, they lost by a goal margin. And their last win also by a goal margin. So in Russia, everything played into the stats I made them. But I'm with GDA said Roma at home there. They are either winning or drawing this game with penalties. 3 penalties, and in Duanam person me research who say BBC is see football mudana because if a penalty beba now there's been an encroachment na so the referee would let the player play again. No akwa jina ho akwa akobọ ase no. Then another player beka say eh wa bo ase ni mienu de ma me nko jina mu na me so me nkobọ. Na nipa no kofa penalty ni mpo de nka first one penalty ne. No so akwa akobọ ase na. It shows say Roma team now missing leadership. Especially in players like El Shaarawy, they've played football at the top level. Though say age only is high, but both teams are uko the Italian Serie A El Shaarawy is one of the known names. Penalty better. I don't know. Say no musro to pick the ball and play, and also give that 1 point to their team. And I'm also Lee. A team ko pick that win. Now, upe team of course upset against the big clubs ubebo leading. You last season in the Champions League. I don't know Real Madrid, and then they omit me a boy rim, and so Edia AS Roma. So I think that the Europa games in there, 18 games in Europa, 18 games in Conference League, but one team per. And it me say man ya mean to me uncle ya with 36 games still into me and picky winner no chair senior nay over selections baby I want you lucky about be a big problem amount and you use bet build our my MYBET.AFRICA come use bet build I think say in come home family ye my MYBET.AFRICA FA Scar and so etu bottom.
Okay, yeah, Vincent, the entry games now.
Yeah,
and drag games now.
my main chair tea for national for you now. Yeah, mama kwaba you Friday say yeah I na che say yeah boom papa because weekend no you di agromo no Telegram group nim and you be a lot of games and Angie Postecoglou listo olusu ne 6th game after joining Nottingham Forest the coach Nuno Espirito Santo who had qualified the team for their first European Championship in over 30 years, and Nottingham Forest for them. I mean, maybe a man for the Champions League. You know, Uber England now pay team some Champions League. You mentioned Liverpool. You mentioned United. Awaji 3. You mentioned Chelsea. Awaji 2. Then the next team Obeba Nottingham Forest Champions League. No magic 2 times. So they're a team that have a very rich history as far as the European competitions. You know, concerned. But then if you look at Nottingham Forest, you see, I'm of the opinion that anytime be a coach be better. Say me your coach I'm about attacking football. Now I'm about 2 team. Then I didn't have a very good preseason. Man, started preseason and my team now. Always you are going to be. I mean, you are always going to find it very difficult. Is he Elliot Anderson? I know about Obiabo Ndino. He was at Newcastle and he wasn't getting playing time. Okay. Because Bruno Gomares. Tonali, any players players are normally ahead of him, but Newcastle had to sell the player because they needed money to clear their books, and he was one player that was coming through their ranks, and he was going to be very influential or crucial for Newcastle team, especially this season. But you see, if you look at Nuno Espirito Santo last season, they were one of the teams, and not defensively they were good. I think goalkeeper no energy the Golden Glove in the league,
Joint with right.
Yeah. So on the call Leverkusen, he on a lot of clean sheets, and then almost last season, almost centre backs Murillo and the other guy, they were one of the best defenders in the league.
Also,
debut or no sales or
Sales or
yes,
on a G on any Ryan joint here.
The joint Golden Glove no, and if you look at them, they were playing a mid-block, low-block game. And in terms of Omoji Bona, they have a lot of players no meeting bully in midfield, and they have runners from the flanks. Yeah. Despite having runners from the flanks, they also have a striker, a traditional modern day striker. In terms of ball and form, Obetime Bully, he can run through the channels. No Ashe goes Chris Wood, who is regarded as one of the best strikers in the league currently. But Ashe Andy Postecoglou, he's a possessive-oriented coach about attacking football, and that attacking football no born affected him. The team no ain't getting that rhythm, so definitely they will struggle. But to be very honest, the fans were singing, say you are getting sacked in the morning, and coach he's not surprised because for over 30 years a team in European football, now European football. Ube lose 5 games, 6 games at once. Definitely, the supporters will be very angry, and you cannot blame him as much because he didn't have enough time to have preseason. And what about red team? You have to supporters. They don't care when you're preseason or you're preseason. And Madi Kanka say in football, we a player, we a coach. Shen so say the team now who join you. Almost all supporters they do not own any loyalty to you, the player or the coach, because some of them have been supporting the team when they won that Champions League 2 trophies. So they've seen players come and go. So you player now Waban, they don't really care because they know that in praying some Madrid day you will leave Nottingham Forest because for I mean in football Nottingham Forest a team bank. Yeah. So they the supporters, the whole allegiance, loyalty to the club, and what they want is for you to win trophies, make them happy. Into your Jose Mourinho, or your Pep Guardiola, or Banana Mankoya, they will bet 2 numeti. And coach, I mean, he knows definitely this was going to happen. And I think that coach Marinakis, he knows that. I mean,
owner.
Yeah. When you say how our Niema starting, things will be very bad. And on to me Bekasa. So I can't be Sake Angie Postogla. Now also we call back to factory settings. Probably maybe Angie Postoglu then I was starting. Onya hit the ground running. But then if you look at how our name they are in a process. And no, they were after almost cut down 3 goals. They were able to pull back and I did back where happened say and now when equalize the game man be 1-1 under few minutes, under 5 minutes, and I'm so sure. So it tells you that the team no there, he is trying ways and means to create chances near the other. But defensively, on the ball high line, it will be very difficult for the team, and then they add back on say, another key player more back for him, Ola Aina. So they are struggling. I think that they will need time to adapt. Obi say Aston Villa like they said no win against Feyenoord. It was a game that people didn't believe Aston Villa was going to win this game. But United Emery has been with the team for the past 3 seasons, 3 to 4 seasons. Also started season on a very bad note because they lost some players and they are trying as much as possible to make them get a team now. So after winning against Bologna, winning again, and then Omoko away to AFN, I mean, it means that Oma started I got a moment to bring back, and I think it was a very good victory for Aston Villa team. Now they've gathered the momentum. Already 3 games at all. So whoever will be meeting them, especially in the Premier League, you have to be very concerned. Say, I must start to get a momentum back. And Crystal Palace for no Monument in the Conference League, I'm winning 19 games and I'm unbeaten. Oliver Glasner team. And in fact, if you look at the team of Boy, always going to be very difficult for them. Say, now come to pay Crystal Palace. For now, I'm about the Premier League first European season. And the first European season, and almost about joining that. Say, if you look at the games now. A course when high Crystal Palace for no any that victory now easy against Dynamo Kiev. Dynamo Kiev no make catch us the side who check you home games especially omo at home. They are a good side omo team now omo last 3 games omo bono. Now omo enya lose but when they meet teams omo very good they seems to fumble and I think that I didn't expect say Crystal Palace were going to drop more than 2 points in this game. So definitely it was a good victory for them. I think some victory. And now ASUMA for no listo. I think say or say Giampero Gasperini can no Yapon game. And Kadov begini suli. Or say Kochi Obutora Koma plays no be a trouble to Makuma. Charlie. And now maybe give them pessimism. Because if you look at AS Roma, although Lille was a team that going to this game now won't be ready, especially Lille or European stages. Last season, you will have almost shocking Real Madrid, and you see one thing about Lille is some home there you cannot predict against them. But this is AS Roma playing against home, playing at home, and the same thing happening. And then me can say they have a very fine record at home. Over 20 games, lose just 1 goal to Torino. And if you look at game no lose against Torino, at least the goal no concede in the early stages in the game. That is in the second half. About second half now. But they're not there as early as 6 minutes.
Okay.
And I go in the by so. Who are Rishimusa definitely they will score. But they're not born now. Then Ferguson more and this bono. It wasn't convincing. So when Omni dog big bum now I was like yes. Omo you Ferguson a free mo. Omo you Dybala free mo. And then you Omode Sharari. And the dog big bum. So you were expecting at least they can equalize. But dog big nisule Sharari Rubaino. I said they no mumpe goal. But from a corner kick and no munya penalty. Listo. Can you believe that Dovig no obey muno? 5 minutes in by a penalty in by. I say Kaseni name. Or boss a penalty in my little goalkeeper next. There was an encroachment. Encroachment in the over ball. There was a lead player in the box. Until when a ball, that lead player now no box. He was the player that was first to clear the ball after some rebound the by and Dovig enyambon. So another encroachment. Second one. Now drove big as Bobo na kwa question baby obo say na no shot say placement or so obo Jorginho Denibio or Bob Bruno Fernandes you cannot even confirm And was also saying, and after that there was another encroachment. So Sule, I said now, it be a pressure for Dobek. So Obebible, also Coco change direction, also feeble shot to be. So Enra, it was very hard. You cannot blame the coach. They had the opportunities, 3 penalties. And I think say that was the shocker of the night. But to be very honest, I know Porto for them winning on 89th minute Pepe and a ball last minute. Medican carrier said Farioli, the Portugal for believes that he's the next Jose Mourinho, and they believe that whatever Jose Mourinho did at FC Porto or Free Porto could join another club in England. They also believe that Farioli, and so back through that channels. I mean, he also joined one of the young Portuguese coaches and a amount for anyone when no Portugal for Porto for the winning at the very late in the game, and then almost the win no munya idea edge investors but no Stuttgart had win. But you see one thing about Stuttgart is Basel for no team especially in Europe and home record there and I think they capitalize on that and ultimately winning that game. So at least I think we had a very good game. But Celtic losing at home was also another shocker because Celtic for especially at Glasgow a very difficult team be because the last time we lose not team beat was Bayern Munich and Rangers in over 25 games. So losing to Braga was something that most of us didn't expect and to beat me happen. So I think that yesterday about the Europa League there over 1.5 goals in the over 85% of the games it provided over 1.5 goals in that game, same as the Conference League. But I say mostly the Europa League and the Conference League teams normally was normally I have more tiring. Upset Kakrebin and ACA in terms of a Celtic game, Stuttgart and also Roma game. But aside, I think that most of the results they're happy, wasn't something that was surprising in our Conference League and Europa League games on this tour.
Okay. We have weekend games tough game by Kubekoso Germany entrance Frankfurt better finone Bayern Munich abo Mukopimu and so France PSG esuni Lille right PSG ni Lille na bebo and uko Spanish La Liga no Barca and Sevilla ebebo oba the Premier League Chelsea so ne Liverpool. So there are some tough games be ebeba so ne the Europa games ni.
Okay, it is a games no man pese started free. That is the Premier League game so this weekend, and I think say Premier League no man senior team be one of the most exciting league in the world. But I shall say free, that is Man United game on Sunderland Bebo. Okay. On paper, no, it looks like this game is not any difficult game for Man United, but Usha performance at Sunderland that I need in the Premier League this season. Uyi the top 5 and next year real league nanka Sunderland and then qualify for Champions League. That shows the performance at Sunderland that I need. And I think said this game would raise a lot of concern. Say Ruben Amorim elusu this game on Susan Kanwa. Because virus I did picture to some Man United managers are in their 50th game for Man United performance. How many wins no mania, how many losses no mania, and also winning percentages and also ewo. Inti derby. Inti with some of the performance it shows say with Man United performance this shows say with Man United Ruben Amorim best team no. Ruben Amorim best team no. The 49th game about where that will be his 50th game. That will be his 50th game for Man United. The worst manager for Man United was Tom Doherty. About we need 15 games in his first 15. We need 15 games. He drew 15. He lost 20 games for Man United. The winning rate was at 30% for Man United. Oshe Ruben Amorim now. We win 18 games, we about draw 12, and we lose 19. Into Olusu against Sunderland, we equal with your friend is saying Tommy with Doherty record of the biggest win, the biggest loss from any Man United manager. We share table is even the likes of Eric Ten Hag and Man United force you performance ne nye any bibia. In the first 50th game, in the first 50 games, we need 35. Elusu just 8. And Ruben Amorim going into this game pressure than this year. And it would have been any game and Kebe okay at Old Trafford against a team like Sunderland. I name him say the Black Cats omo fear omo hard ye. And Sunderland team no this season least to a performance they've been one of the teams in their 7 league games on my bono omuti go in the first half. No go in the first half. They end the second half very well. I didn't raise the statistics. It's a Man United team, yeah. Their second half performance in the Premier League has been so poor. Going into a game like this, Man United were pressured almost, especially against a Sunderland side. Chelsea, they are the youngest team in the Premier League this year. And they are showing, say yes, the performance can be there. They can beat some of the difficult teams. But Man United against newly promoted side have a very good record. And na Ruben Amorim befa edia to Niko to James in their last 24 games against newly promoted side on my board, we win 21 and on my board draw 3. They've not lost against a newly promoted side. Last season you were draw against Ipswich. So this will be a very difficult game. But me call MYBET.AFRICA a wild pick and winning a mefa game way. Sunderland will go to Old Trafford and beat Man United. Sunderland, yes. Okay. Sunderland will go to Old Trafford and beat Man United.
I will not be surprised because I watched them against Nottingham Forest, and what I saw, look, they are basically Stoke City
style of playing. Boss Barclays Premier League ball
aggressive. They win all duels. I was thinking, say home fans in a winning
matches, yeah.
That was me thinking. On the course our area and Newcastle
yeah.
Newcastle United the name Sunderland. From almost if a tie sign or so. A tie sign was a tie sign. That area they use almost supporters. All the clubs in that area and you use almost supporters and their grounds in a very difficult place to go. But I've watched Sunderland. What is what they turn against Levinia draw against
the Crystal Palace?
No. Aston Villa this season or return against
11 year
or consider after going down by a man, then a goal, he managed to come back and very impressive. One more performance or more than I was Manchester United. They are very and yes sir, I'm here weekend with the Amorim. Well, to me we need the Arsenal.
And this is one team ne away games our ball. Or against Crystal Palace, one of the most difficult grounds to go. Echo ball 0-0 or Nottingham Forest, another difficult ground to go. Echo Shen 1-0. So going to Old Trafford, no share order they Sunderland. And then I'm almost 7-0 to MYBET.AFRICA. In TNA, Sunderland win or draw quite option and meet me because I'm looking at the way of mobile no, the way of more attacking teams, almost striker, Igo Thiago. He's making sure say in home games no bogos they see all the away games so account and the likes of Shaka Mo would come into this game to make sure they would dominate. It's one game I think it will be very difficult for Man United. Yeah, sure. Arsenal any West Ham. This is one game I think previous record any BBH said this is a walk home for Arsenal. But I think the only thing that changes this game is we have coach Nuno Espirito Santo about West Ham team, and I think say he will try to put in something good. Ocean the first game against Everton, and now they are the only team to score a goal at the new Everton Stadium. That is Hale Dickinson. They are the only first team to score a goal there. Everton about 2 games or team being to me share and it shows the performance also done against a team like Arsenal. But I think say Arteta and Brandt and they are on top form. When it comes to keeping clean sheets, when it comes to being defensively solid, this is one of the best team in the Premier League as of now. Into pressure better than you so if he can get a draw against us now, the Nottingham Forest fans will be very happy for him joining them because they've had bad results against us now.
Nottingham Forest or
West Ham, sorry. They've had bad results against us now. Obiakaya last season, Arsenal cautioned 5-0 at the London Park. But in the return leg against Arsenal, no, they scored 1 goal against Arsenal. And now also na Arsenal league win, no, a baby on game week 26. So they want to repeat that same thing against Arsenal. And I think the Upe coach we are obetimi that particular defensive solidity against Arsenal. Nuno Espirito Santo. You know the way of the Nottingham Forest team, no, it me drew Arsenal last season. And I think say this game we'll surely see a both team to score. The likes of Carl Wilson, more leading Nottingham Forest, and the four Krugma picked a good form, and the team structure are very good. Send your mobile against Everton, and I think they'll go into this game very solid. I'm looking at an Arsenal win or draw, and also a both team to score in this game. But I wouldn't be surprised that Nottingham Forest can create an upset against Arteta and Brandt.
Nottingham Forest.
West Ham. Yeah, Liverpool and the Chelsea game. And at Stamford Bridge is one of the games. I mean, against Liverpool and the Galatasaray. I was thinking that Slot had the Chelsea game in mind. And looking at the selections in that game against Galatasaray, a call some way, somehow, benching Mohamed Salah and also benching some of the key players in his team. And I think that Slot, up a team in the Premier League, what praise him every time, Chelsea. He has always been talking about the Chelsea team, how exciting who team know, how dynamic they are. It do be Maresca because say like Manning yewe quite indirectly Manning ball mabasubium. He wants to dominate and make sure so we born the ball. And I think so up a team performance wise in their last 85 games, only Liverpool team go toe to toe at Chelsea. And they've shown it way in some of the games on Munio Mabo. But at Stamford Bridge in their last games, so many Liverpool, but in himself this fixture, we Chelsea Man United. This fixture, another fixture, be ending in draws, a 1-1 draw, a 0-0 draw. Even in cup games, we've seen it happening. Draws. I think penalties. But Chelsea to me pick a 3-1 win against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge last season in Enzo Maresca era. Now Maresca, he said he wants to keep on doing that, especially after picking a clean sheet against Benfica. No, there's one game as a Chelsea team win. The fans will have a belief say they are getting their Chelsea. At home, yes, yeah. They are getting their Chelsea back because they've been able to get a clean sheet against Benfica at home, and the second home game, against Liverpool. And I think that this fixture, about with a lot of excitement, especially here Chelsea. They are one of the teams in their last 9 games, a 7 first half for Mutimishe goal, and it shows that Maresca and Brandt, the first 10-15 minutes they don't start well. But getting into the halftime period, say go ebetimi pie mama Chelsea or mutimiko. Anytime they are Liverpool, starting as a game favorite. Anytime they will start as a game favorite in their 8 games, emu 6, they find it very difficult to take lead in the first 60th minute. Into Liverpool in those games they come to score in the last minute, 80th minute walk. Anytime I want to Liverpool game where there is a comfortable win for them, they find it difficult to win, especially winning those games in the 80th minute and going into Maresca. So be a planning against the Liverpool setup. Those last minute wins, and the players need to switch it off. They need to be very focused and make sure so they pick a good result. And I think that this game, I'm looking at a first half draw in this game and a second half win for Chelsea. A first half draw and a second half win for Chelsea. A wild pick, but I'm looking at Liverpool will try to take advantage of in second half games we perform so well. In the 90th, 80th minutes game we perform so well. But there's a time when Maresca and Brandt and they need to come in and have a good performance against Liverpool. So a second half draw, a first half draw, a second half win for Chelsea, or an over 2.5 game win. Germany, there will be 2 difficult games going on. Dortmund against RB Leipzig and also Bayern Munich and Frankfurt. With Dortmund, this is a new team or form. Mebo Dortmund, we the likes of Crystal Palace, the likes of Bayern Munich, Dortmund, another team will beat me. One thing I mean, I do team no say in the Bundesliga, their last 10 games on my bono, Omukuta, one of the records in Europe this year, and the first half they are surely giving you goals. Into a team, so trying the first half win and a first half 0.5 and a first half 1.5 a Dortmund team and Roma, they are the only team Ebani say they conceding and they've conceded the fewer goals in their league. It shows say Dortmund minimum say last season no more concede bet me 5 me bet team 4, but this season they are trying to make sure it's a clean sheet and also conceding less in games they are doing, and now they've conceded just 3 goals. And against RB Leipzig team or non, so Ebani say conceding they are one of the top teams. Obe concede this year, and Osha their last 8 visits. Was Signal Iduna. They've conceded 8 nimuna. So and then in this game, Dortmund scoring will be a high option. I bet me a for. And I'm tipping Dortmund to win because in the Bundesliga they've only draw 1 game, and they've won the remaining games. That shows the pedigree they want to take into the competition. Inti Dortmund in that game, I'm tipping them to win. Both teams to score are likely to happen, but Dortmund will pick that 3 points. Frankfurt and Bayern Munich. So Bayern Munich to me winning game where company best set a record, being the first manager to win first 10 games across all European competitions. Say be born in the Champions League, say or the Liga with me winning, not even getting a draw. And I think say Frankfurt be a difficult customer for them. But in him Dortmund any Frankfurt fixture, mostly time at Frankfurt beat me a picky win was say Dortmund and Bayern any more on a Friday night. That is when minimum say Frankfurt or a upper hand against Bayern on Friday night. The last time they played on a Friday night, or share Bayern Munich by 5-1. But then the game will be played on Saturday, and which will be a difficult game against Frankfurt. Frankfurt have been an on and off team in the Bundesliga. Owini and Nuelusu, Owini Nuelusu. But the consistency of Bayern a bit warm in this game, and I think that this fixture. Maybe there can be an upset in this fixture for Frankfurt to beat Bayern. But one thing I made me to
Bayern form away.
Yes,
No
but
doubt.
Frankfurt at home. Frankfurt at home. So Timinya a good results against Bayern. Utiminya and every time Biano. So Lusu before meeting Bayern is very difficult for Bayern Munich. Kaise Frankfurt Lusu in the Champions League, and they are coming at the home game against Bayern. But here the two teams. One thing I made me promising in this fixture, goals. Frankfurt is one of the worst defensive team. We Werder Bremen, they are the second. When it comes to conceding. In today's fixture, over 3.5, one option I'll bet me a for. Because of the way Bayern Munich so she goes. And also over 4.5 crab bet me in this fixture. Because Frankfurt last 3 fixtures are producing 5+ goals. In TNS Bayern Munich, you can get 4 to 5 goals in this fixture. Real Madrid, another big test for them against Villarreal. Last time their next 5 games are very difficult. Now se coach a friend Xabi Alonso, good results from them. He can win the La Liga because these 5 games are about Atletico, Villarreal, Barcelona, and Namu. And the show said these are difficult games.
Now he has lost
against Atletico, and another difficult customer coming in Villarreal, the likes of Nicolas Pepe and Thomas Partey more modern year power team. And Real Madrid in the last 3 games, I show say he's scoring. Or the game is going to 5+ goals. Into either so share 5, and as only opponent nature 5 goals no. But so Villarreal on the other hand, or a team be in the last 9 away games, unti keep clean sheet here. And it shows say they are surely going to concede against a Real Madrid team. But the only thing a bit me bomb in this game said they've shown in the La Liga said their last 3 games, if they are losing by a goal margin. If they are winning by a goal margin. In a game on Ochina game I wouldn't be surprised seeing the game going to maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1. But Alonso Peso make his statement then this game should be like that Atletico Madrid Villarreal game. Atletico went into the game and won by 2 goals and also kept a clean sheet. And this will be a difficult game. The likes of Kylian Mbappe, form Okuta going into this game would play a big factor for Real Madrid. And I think that Real Madrid would have a good result. Real Madrid to win and keep a clean sheet against Villarreal. And it will be a good game for them, especially going into the international break or Bebano. They are having difficult games against the likes of Barcelona, any other team. Sevilla, any Barcelona. Barcelona picking a lose against Paris Saint-Germain was an eye-opener for them, especially with performance of Madanedi in the La Liga. And it was true, now they are leading the La Liga table. But you could see that anytime they meet teams, they want to go boot to boot with them. They find it very difficult. Barcelona, a team time be starting as favorite for a game. They surely go on to win. And most of those games, from the 70th minute, Barcelona to miss 2 goals in that particular time, So a second half 0.5, a second half 1.5 in this game. Barcelona and so in 45 games on my ball continuously, they've been able to score goals. Sevilla keeping a clean sheet against Barcelona, they be intimacy. But Sevilla, one thing on Musubom said their head-to-head games against Barcelona, emu 4, emu 3, they've scored before halftime. So Sevilla, it means a goal in the first half. Into say, usher this game, na Sevilla bedi can be share, na Barcelona ba betia, emane because they've shown in 3 of their last 4 head-to-heads against Barcelona. Say, on the bedi can share. na Barcelona abete. But I'm looking at this game ending in the both team to score, and Barcelona knowing say Real Madrid be Villarreal no, they would go into this game to win. Oshe also kuta Barcelona and a both team to score so Barcelona to win and also a both team to score in that game. I think the last game I met actually on Paris Saint-Germain against Lille game on Bebo, and I think say Luis Enrique in the French League, there are some teams that they are giving them difficult games. They say Marseille, Lille, and so one game will beat me a difficult game, and also Ushe team beats them Monaco. These are teams that they can worry. But going into this game, I'm tipping Lille say because of the short or mobile per game, and a better one say in just few games, about these 5 games, about 99 shots.
Okay.
So they are one team, they are not shy of shooting. And against a Paris Saint-Germain team, they are not with their first 11 key players. No, leave any opportunities to shoot against them, and it will be something it can lead into goals because they've been one team. They have the highest second half goals in the league. We share 11 goals from second half. Into this game, who's the second half goals about a man in your because they've shown say they are one of the teams they score a lot of goals in the second half. Oshe Paris Saint-Germain the last 8 games were about against any other team. Emu 2 both team to score a ball, including the Barcelona game or boy. So they are one team defensively they are solid. The likes of Pacho and Zabani, even Marquinhos best start here. They are making sure say defensively they are solid. And one thing I'm happy about this Paris Saint-Germain team say call for fouls for more. They are the lowest team when it comes to foul committed. They've committed 54 fouls, the lowest in the French League this season, and they are one team they don't commit a lot of fouls, which shows going into this game fouls were on my side a bit less. But I'm looking at Paris Saint-Germain picking a win against Lille. Lille were good home form, but Paris Saint-Germain will pick a win against them. Not a both team to score. One option I likely say beat me about because in their last 5 games, both team to score about. And in those last 5 visits that Paris Saint-Germain are calling, 2 of them we got a basketball scoreline 5-1, 7-1. If that is going to repeat, then Paris Saint-Germain.
Okay.
Paris. Yes, and Jamaica say if they are going to repeat the same form of Munya against Barcelona, we can see a high score line, but both teams to score is likely to happen over 2.5. And so in this fixture, it's likely to happen. I think that this weekend games because these are one of the 2 games I'm afraid said. Some may be upset, some may give us good odds. I bet me a bet from like the Man United and also with Bayern Munich and Frankfurt games. So I think the Europa MYBET.AFRICA with these selections, any options are mama we unsu bet me a bet build that option bet me a fiscal at 2 bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
Main chair for I think there will be a lot of exciting games this weekend, and there are a lot of top games. But I mean, starting with Arsenal and West Ham there in England. Listo, if you look at the league table currently, now Arsenal lead by Liverpool lead by 16 points. Arsenal also with 13, and Arsenal this is the Liverpool side who have lost their last 2 games. And they are going to play Chelsea, who's also struggling to get consistency, especially in this season. So, they won't beat my idea, Liverpool. So they will just take this opportunity, and in the league, around the top 6 clubs in there, on share points around themselves. But it seems like West Ham, Brentford, and these teams, if you want to win the league, you have to score them. If you look at where I'm about, I think that the game will favor Arsenal because, to be very honest, West Ham from Graham Potter or Brett, and one important player beats Sushek, so or Jawaji red card, so he's going to be suspended in this game. If you look at Arsenal games, especially started season, they've lost just 1 game. That is against Liverpool this season. And after losing to Liverpool, no matter winning games against City, we saw how they drew. And in fact, where we are going to play the game, Hodu and value can say, but I think that Arsenal for at the Emirates Sports Stadium, they've played a lot of games, and Omunia lose. The last time they lost a competitive game Emirates was when Bemo for I think there is going to be an interesting game for a year Arsenal for. In fact, Graham Potter and Aston Villa for they know said they might find it very difficult or meet him that. If you look at some key players on Belusua, they are going to lose Abranta and Eddie James or Prowse. In fact, Nuno Espirito Santo by He's trying as much as possible to get the team to the ways, but he's quite unfortunate. Say Obetima Peke a win against Arsenal. But to be very honest, with more players, with Jared Bowen, with Paqueta, and Falkirk more, they decided I think they might have a goal in this game. So definitely going for a win for Arsenal over 1.5 goals, and we should expect a lot of corners in this game as well. Nyame Adoma United and Sunderland, a very tricky game. And if you look at United, after getting that win against Chelsea, a lot of us knew that Omunde's game win because under Ruben Amorim Listo, they haven't won 2 games consecutive. We need games in 2 times. They didn't see that. So it was always going to be very difficult for them to draw points in their last game number and against Brentford. And Marika said, you can question the system of the coach. You can question the attitude of the coach. Concern is only the Nyado be changing information. But we cannot also, question the attitude of the players. And on Nyame Admochna, if Ruben Amorim wambo laments in the poster, then a baby clear say he wasn't in support. Say coach, ye pe goalkeeper na yema Onana kwa yema laments and because a quiet clear say the coach didn't believe Bayindal. Even last season when Onana was squandering chances, Onana say making some silly mistakes, blunders, Emma United considered. Still, he was still imposed. At that time, Bayindal was there. Even they started this season now, Onana, the club was angry, said, Okobo and Fiji will be a man in your growing. Even when Onana came back, he was still imposed. A quack said, Coach Naxans and Bayindal on pen and Lamens buying. I'm about 2 or 3 games and still Bayindal and that podium. So, Tinyami watch now. If they don't start the new goalkeeper on Cotton free, Royal Antwerp, it means that the coach wasn't in support. They say Omar Barrett among any jails we Cosmo and yet a more share chum for a goalkeeper and buy. But he can't be a goalkeeper no numbers. He's a very fine goalkeeper, one of the best young goalkeepers in Europa. And Ubenya in goalkeeper Nabanas still. Binder will be in post, make such silly mistakes. Now it means that the coach didn't want to start a Nyami Admochna. Ruben Amorim will play in the 50th game as United coach. And people that believe in records, myth, and signing manager say, in the history of United, no coach expects Ferguson. And I won the 50th game for United. I was winning. Into Asha, or any other coaches are in this record, no, and now this are about it means that there's a United can do this game. But you see, United, so they have a very good record against newly promoted side, especially Bruno Fernandes, who will share newly promoted side or Shormo. And if you look at United games, especially at home, and Shadanya is so bad there because the last time they lost at home in over 10 games was when Arsenal for Echo Shormo. That is the season opener. So United, for Listo, they have a very fine record, especially at home. I see this game to be a scoring draw. I see it to be a scoring draw, and for the first time, we might see I think against Grimsby game, we are going to see Matheus Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, and Branton de Eddie Mbuemo in that same game, in a game of Mr. I expect this game very good. If United defense or my mistake or mentally it should be a game I think United beat myself. But to be very honest, send a Monument kind, Sunderland for Monument. At least must start this season on a very good note because I check here. Among last games are so far Niema and so they are one of the few teams that almost started league on a very good note. I think that it's going to be a very huge tax for United. To be very honest, now Ruben Amorim report in said United Hurricane they still want to support him. So now there is the chance for the coach to bench whatever player because these two send me a coach. Now me Bruno Fernandes, me Cunha, me a lot of the players. Now me who said these players are not giving now. On making statements, on benching no more young players, but they have a lot of academy players in there. Uboma, the supporters who know say Charlie, who the players who are down winning, they will know say these are players that are worth fighting for. So to me, Ruben Amorim, whether he like it or not, United hierarchy no air supporting her. The job is at stake, and Wanye Bibia ni history books as one of the worst coaches are be coaching United. So to me, in situations like this, hierarchy supporters being believers of system try and outsmart them try and give opportunity to players or meet my ball. I'm not expecting say or starting Harry Maguire, Matisse Delete, any such players or the bomb in that game. No, probably they are lacking a lot of defenders in terms through injuries. But Lenny Euro your fit, Delete your fit, and Luke Shaw your fit. I'm expecting them to start. And then Amad Diallo, he missed the game through some personal reasons. Maybe why or he's back and obey me abono and they almost Tario Malaysia coach Amanaba. So he tells you that Dogu hasn't been consistent, especially in the few games from ball. And it's all Leonard Nom Kofa and and so any somebody I'll beat Mama. And then Malaysia has played at the highest level in the Eredivisie. Oba United he played at a certain level and Sana Oba Benya injury down. So I think that in all aspects of the game, Casemiro will be back. They will have a lot of players coming back from injury. No Benya Messi, Benya Matonskua. Although Sunderland have a very good midfield, but then I expect United. I don't see United losing this game. I'm going for a double chance for Man United in this game. There will be a huge game at Stamford Bridge, and I think that a game about the highlight of the Premier League this weekend. If you look at the games now, Listo, Chelsea started season on a very good note after winning a ball draw against Crystal Palace, no, or winning against West Ham, or winning against Fulham, and that 2-2 draw was when things started falling apart for Chelsea. Then Okolusu to Bayern Munich, then he lost to Manchester United, and then Nyonya win against Lincoln. Then again, Obabe Lusu, a shocking defeat nobody even expected against Brighton Hove Albion, through red card, and a lot of things that happened. The Chelsea season, on and off. In terms of discipline, I'm for breaking Chelsea red card bookings list. Since the start of last season, Chelsea had 118 yellow cards and 118 cards. It moved 4 a red card and 4 a red card. If all the Joao Pedro, Sanchez, and Obiti said Chaluba Dena, 2 of them were say clear goals everyone and to stop a goal scoring opportunity, and Joao Pedro then was something that happened in football, a very bad attempt or in the 9 can't play another, but it was a very bad attempt when you're in the second book ball offense or the red card. So to me, it's going to be an interesting game. If you look at Liverpool team now, the last time team we share, especially Chelsea, and you see, I in slot ranks and listo, we share Chelsea or Bre. If you look at these 2 teams, games are almost shy, especially last season. Last season, Liverpool won 2-1 at Anfield, and you see that game will be how Liverpool struggle or team shares are going. And you see that game, Nicholas Jackson, a lot of players squander a lot of chances after almost and Curtis Jones go was a game that was avoidable, but Chelsea kept on knocking, and Liverpool, especially at Anfield, you can always give them that benefit of the doubt. But then when Omoba Stamford Bridge, you can also say not Omaji League in a way, but it's a game nobody expected Iron Slots and Kobe to lose a game. So
that particular game, let's be fair. It was a game.
No, it's
not so much game, but the motivation, and you see, once games need to be 1-on-1, you need some level of motivation to play. No Mushia, they were not motivated.
No, even after that game, no money Arsenal, and Arsenal was a challenger, non competition proof point compared to the Chelsea game.
The Chelsea game, what I say. So let's be fair to them. If that is what we are going to rely on.
No, so that's what I'm saying. We can also be fair to Chelsea. Say a game of my boy, and if you look at the game, if Obibebo game na say, then I say, despite the fact that no match league in but it wasn't a game you would say Iron Slot was coming to lose that game.
Yeah,
because look at the lineup. Also, need best 11 from defense: Arnold, Statia, Robertson in midfield, Curtis Jones, Gravenberch, and McAllister, and even Salah, Gakpo, and I think said Luis there. So even in that game, when Chelsea knew that first 2 goals number taken, he tried to make changes, and they had a lot of chances. And even Medicanca said when Oshia Enzo Maresca from the game at Anfield and from the game at Stamford Bridge, Oshia Maresca obre. Because if you look at Liverpool game now, Savara was beating the Liverpool setup in the first picture not to swear. When Omusha Chelsea, they press if they are defending mostly a 4-2-4 system, send that team in this one. And you see Chelsea so air start here. Chelsea so in the build-up position, Chelsea air building up with a 3-2-5 system. Now, this was a game Omuboy against Chelsea or Anfield. And it was a game that you saw say Chelsea were dominating the game. It was that game now Van Dijk because they won the game because they were lucky, and they believe that the best team lost the game, especially in the first leg in that game. In Georgia, Gakpo, Dalot, no, Diego Jota, Nunes, and then Salah. 4 players, they are number 10 and almost striker no press it. But you see, they find it very difficult. And see, 2 games in, I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans saying, Lavia there, he's always available for Chelsea. And especially in that game, Obo Onika said that. So, Omo number 10, a jump up, so Oma be pressing one of the 3 centre backs na Chelsea. They find it very difficult. So, this is how Chelsea set up against them. Noni Madueke Oho, and Omunya Pedro Neto at the top there. Jackson, Enzo Fernandez, and Kopama, where the players are no more finding into the champ because Liverpool defenders used to, they don't jump. You won't see Virgil van Dijk jump and say half space that here. You normally see anytime be a Konate be side the goals and I think say in this game there are a lot of other pictures of various teams so and they are also to talk about how almost set up and how very difficult for Liverpool for them to play against Chelsea. This was how almost set up, and even whenever they decide say Ombe press Chelsea with that 3 man because normally Omo press here number 10 in the wingers need now pressible 4 players, then they will have 2 players sitting in front of that 4 players. This was when they decided say now let's go with a 3-man press. Young press Chelsea players, and whenever they do that, Chelsea players either regimes or the left back will also join the midfield, and Chelsea will always have a lot of men in midfield. Chelsea in Liverpool game, we always have a lot of men in midfield, and they play Chelsea ball Lavia, ball Caicedo, ball Enzo Fernandez plus Kopama up against Liverpool 3-man midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Dominic Szoboszlai. And I'm expecting say coach and Enzo Maresca will also do same thing. Now this is in the game. Whenever Liverpool bar up front, almost started some with the 3-man midfield. Always Chelsea were always having players because now you have Gravenberch and Szoboszlai coming up against Lavia and Caicedo. Now Gakpo, Salah, and Luis Diaz attacking the 3-back of Chelsea. Now you always have Enzo Fernandez or Kopama dropping into the half spaces on Beji Boa and they'll make media wide. Same thing bit happening much now. If Lavia fit, if the coach is going to start him, if coach in end starting now, you will see Gakpo, Salah, Szoboszlai, any striker or best starting is Alexander Isak. Always pressing Chelsea, and I think that Chelsea will always have the men on betting here. Now, Barry betting the last picture and that also.
Let's look at the players. You are mentioning players here. Last season they were there, and at that time Chelsea was in a good momentum near the other. As we speak, Kopama is missing. How does that affect how they will play? Because the quality of Kopama, now, how do you think the coach, and he cannot play like he played last season because of the materials now? How are you going to go about it? Are you going to let Bonanote to play a Kopama role? No? Can he do it? Are you going to let Estevao do that? Garnacho coming in or getting an answer? And
remember squad. Okay. So I was talking about the structure, how our coaching never set up. Now, whether we like it or not, this game, the coach, the goalkeeper, and the striker will be very key. Because if you look at Liverpool team now, they struggle against strikers. Either striker and they drop it deep and or running in behind. So your last 2 games, they were finding it very difficult to especially stop Nicolas Jackson. Because or drop it deep, there be a connected in the and always Mbappe Van Dijk up against 2 Chelsea players, Kopama and Enzo Fernandez. Now, if you look at how our Chelsea are, if they will decide to press Chelsea with a 3-man or 4-man system, now that half space is Sanchez has to get the passes in right. And even apart from Sanchez, the players who are going to start at Chelsea's back, they are going to be very essential. Now, various and fact Chelsea probable lineup, I expect a coach in the body to Sumami.
Okay.
You see, in a game against PSG, Chelsea they share PSG. Obia who say the passes from Levi Colwill, the passes from Sanchez and lead to that 3 goals at Chelsea share. In you share team obe press always you have a lot of men in midfield, but then that passes to the space is now very affected because Liverpool, whether you like it or not, among mid block, among low block, they will press you. Don't be pressure because they have a lot of players that when almost press no money, they are also brilliant to start this game. Now from the Chelsea side, definitely Sanchez is fit. If you look at the Chelsea centre back position, at least now Liverpool is available. Tosin and Derabio is available because of that concussion now. Jorgensen pointable and inside ball wrestling for Fofana. He's also doubtful in this game. So the only available centre backs this game, a champion by their shell, and even Chaloba so at the red card. Now, are you going to say are you going to risk Jaro Hato to play that centre back role? Because to me, when Hato was playing that centre back role, I liked it. Now, on mommy glimpses of Liverpool, but you see, I've always been a fan of Badiashile. When Enzo Maresca buy Obekache and say, Ope one of the players are more good passers of the ball. Badiashile, whether we like it or not, he's one of the best passers in terms of a defenders. But I dare member Badiashile won't say, Oma ni mistakes never one Edorson and ni intensity no, especially in the game because he's going to defend against Obitize Isaac, any Gakpo, Zoboslai, any Mohamed Salamwa, or more players are or more very pacey. So in that regard, if Obe started hard to in this game, now Uka started hard to any a champion, arguably 2 young center defenders never best start in this game. So inexperience ebe affect, but whether we like it or not, but they are shield about to the highest level. And I think say everybody but they are shield now always Gusto and I say Cucurella will always get closer to the him. I think that in your build up in terms of area ability, because whether you like it or not, who shall Liverpool they attack, especially Munya corner. Now so Munya corner anyway, but so to me that is the reason why I would prefer Sebe starting by the Ashili in this game. That is if he's fit. A champion games almost so far this season. Apart from some few mistakes, he's one player. So Opresina, Obetima breaking, and now we don't have any option than to play him as the right centre back in that role. So Fofana, fit from the concussion when you're now. Definitely Fofana will start. But if still or doubtful, not a very dangerous to start him in this game, I'll go in for a champion.
Or Hopper can make to my boat such as win this
game. Oh
game.
yes.
If because I think say a champion against Liverpool, obviously they will target him. And send your more experience. Even Hugo Ekitike, both Hugo Ekitike and Isaac,
Isaac is available. Ekitike is available, but Isaac is available. Yeah. And Isaac can have a champion. Or the experience baby Tino. Yeah. Not even Isaac, but even Cody Gakpo. The players who will play closer to them, no. And you see, we also talk about the area ability. Now, various bit my sons they are so sorry. Medical can list to Lavia Nedia. They were your players be more almost shedding beyond Bobo. Lavia, I think the last 2 games of Baby Bobby. If he's fit enough to start this game, especially with the absence of Kopama, I'll be very happy to say Kebe starting Lavia. Any more says Caicedo. Now, I'm press here. You're that press resistant. We have 2 players who can match the intensity of Gravenberg, Zoboslai, and even McAllister in that regard. Now, you have Enzo Fernandez as the number 10, but I know Tete no bono. Or you're too soft for my liking, to be very honest. Or a very good, but in 2 games, he's not an ideal player you've been here in this game in terms of transition. Because this game like this, so who shall Liverpool? The reason why I bought Lavia, Nick, I said, no, 2 games they show me now. Because of your ball with a quick transition. So I'm more press. Now the ball team the Uyibo and Ipia come out live and Caicedo. Now Uyibo and Ipia, who are you going to look for? You 4 players no more anymore. No, Joao Pedro, Estavao, Enzo Fernandez, or Pedro Neto Nakako final. And I don't think say, but I note ni speed and ni intensity in the bit me cry Aboy in this game. So definitely I would start with a 3-man midfield. That is Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, and Romeo Lavia because and then Senka Santos will have probably can start Santos ahead of Lavia because Lavia ensured need that match fitness. No, so definitely I will start a 3-man midfield to match up with Liverpool for a 3-man midfield because if you fail to match up with them when they are building up, Ubebre. So this three-man midfield will be very key for them. And Neto, Estavao, and Joao Pedro. You see, this game, listen, whether we like it or not, it's a game for Joao Pedro. Because when you say or dropping or bar, the players no bono, and they cannot no or be jumping. Van Dijk omba. So the communication between Joao Pedro and the wingers will be very key. In this game, I will expect even if you start Garnacho, either best start Estavao or Pedro Neto from the flanks. You know that these two players will touch the width. Almost touch it with now. A bit me alimenti Milos Kekes and Obit Frempong also. Because these are players are Frempong a flying fullback. In this zone, you say always be so Garnacho and or Obit say Pedro Neto. Whenever he's searching for it to supply support for Obit say Mohamed Salah. Obedri who 2-2. And Salah against Cucurella. I think it's a bit a very key contest.
They've met
several times and who that contest. Now, to me, this lineup will be very key for Chelsea. Now, virus and for Liverpool, then so quickly. Now,
coach, and then the press conference, I say, Ekitike and Chiesa will be back in training today. So obviously they will be ready.
Ekitike no only available because of red card no ODA in the way no. Also the red card the EFL.
On Sevi.
It wasn't a straight red. Sorry, I stand. So Ekitike back, but yes. Definitely I think say what the best at Ekitike or Isak. Ekitike Mpono in the Liverpool setup was starting season very well than Ayo Obit Isak. The virus in fact Liverpool then so quickly now may wrap it up. And if you look at this, is how definitely most of them start said maybe they are going to start Bradley because Frimpong once and hinge no nyano on team 4-3 games into us. So probably they might start Bradley, who also a player or a very good record against Chelsea. McAllister, Gravenberch, Zobos like this is no game for Florian Wirtz.
But you're starting.
I'm starting Florian Wirtz. I'm not expecting them somebody starting Florian Wirtz. Used to almost starting Florian Wirtz. And I almost me any press no because Wirtz no. Say Lavia never start here. Lavia Nika said, "Oh, nyabo ni bimbo." So there's a reason why last season no more yard because Zobos like the more that intensity, and McAllister no was somebody that no control game, and Gravenberch was somebody screening or more game for them from deep. So to me, this is how Liverpool are ever best starting. To be very honest, I don't see Chelsea keeping clean, keeping clean sheet. Mohamed Salah a player to score in this game.
Okay.
Isak because of your center back and because listen, Emuyaha. Uber started by the Ashila and Najora had to champion. You always expect some many mistakes. So in this game, and if you look at Chelsea games, we've only kept one clean sheet in the last 8 games, but that is the first game. Any Crystal Palace for no. Boy, so to be very honest, this is a game that I'm expecting both teams to score. I'll go in for double chance for Chelsea. Whether despite the fact that Copa money and a lot of key players. I'll go in for. I see it to be very honest. I see it to be a scoring draw, but I'll give Chelsea the benefit of the doubt. Say Omobo at home and Liverpool for also pressure so Edward so I'll go in for a double chance for Chelsea. Before I make on list two, I think say other games no. Joao Pedro in this game, he's also a player. I think say he's also a likely player to score in this game. Then Bruno Fernandes, me person fair player to score and send money Mamodi. Bruno Fernandes against and Lamadi can say a very good record against players also teams who free championship about. So Bruno Fernandes to score, Joao Pedro to score, Mohamed Salah to score, and in the Bundesliga, Harry Kane. Ni game bi go say likely say Harry Kane was also to score. Lamine Yamal on Hinyan but I'm expecting him to score for Barcelona over the weekend. Sergio Guirassy against Eintracht Frankfurt is a game of goals, and if Dortmund a game of goals, I'm expecting Guirassy to also score. Haaland to score this weekend. Victor Gyökeres against West Ham, a game I'm expecting the Sweden international so to score. Thuram Inter Milan and Cremonese, I'm expecting Thuram to score, and Kylian Mbappe as usual. I'm expecting also Kylian Mbappe to score as usual.
Okay, right. Into I know you went to moment for any games in the Akano.
Telegram. Into any games MYBET.AFRICA. We ought to know 5 ought MYBET.AFRICA games in the Hoffenheim any Cologne game on Bebo and over 2.5. Hector Verona and Sassuolo handicap of 2 to win. Paris FC any Lorient 1.5, Lorient 1.5 home. And Bournemouth any Fulham, Bournemouth win or draw. Osasuna any Getafe and so 1.5. Code no ɛyɛ 44QP 44QP MYBET.AFRICA.
Okay, me selection no say in the city, but overcall sports arena na wakwakofa code no, but selection for any games no, Bournemouth any Fulham game no, overcall double chance and over 1.5 goals for Bournemouth, double chance and over 1.5 goals for Bournemouth. Osasuna Getafe game no, over 1.5 goals in that game. Hoffenheim any Cologne game no, and also bet me ako over 1.5 goals in that game. Sansuna Verona any Sassuolo game no, and also over 1.5 goals in that game. And then the last game Paris any Lorraine game no, and also bet me ako over 8.5 corners. That was that game. Until these are the few games I must select. To be called Sports Arena Group in now linking that or the other say we ball linking so now Edward call my bet na any we try code. Nyame odum watch na exactly 7 a.m. Yeah, the weekend games ni na so bet him so that also.
Okay. Monsieur media no oko take ya trousers sport any Kasaya sport trousers sport some match over 1.5 Hoffenheim ne Cologne over 1.5 Verona ne Sassuolo Verona home goal Paris any Lorraine over 1.5 Bournemouth any Fulham and also corners over 7.5 and Osasuna any Getafe Osasuna any Getafe so much we win obi win bia that was our game no our honum ti eno eneye me odds for today na me adoma ye be share Monday na emom ye be koso a be bia ye di dwa no ye be di dwa wo ho na bibia so atumi akoye yakra mo